Hello and welcome. Life is not going to be the same for the people of Mepadi Panchayat in Wayanad, who have survived the deadly landslides that struck on the night between July 29 and 30. The landslide snuffed out 250 lives, while many are still missing. The landslide at Puthumala in 2019. Puthumala is located pretty close to Churalmala, where the landslides occurred this time. Back in 2019, 17 people had lost their lives, and that landslide pales in comparison given the enormity of the disaster this time. Relief operations in Mepadi are progressing, and the Chief Minister, who visited the area today, promised the state's assistance in rebuilding the lives of survivors. But landslides have become an annual threat to the people of high ranges in the state. After the calamitous monsoon of 2018, the government launched a Rebuild Kerala mission and came out with a post-disaster needs assessment plan, a report. This was followed by panchayat level disaster management plans, and there is one for Mepadi Panchayat as well, which was prepared back in 2020. And a climate action plan last year, which is meant to be implemented with the support of local bodies. We at the Hindu today have Kerala's Minister for Local Self-Governments, Mr. M.B. Rajesh, to respond to our queries on the Wayanad tragedy and the larger questions about building a climate resilient Kerala. Welcome, Minister, to the program.
Thank you.
Good evening. The monsoon was predicted to be heavy towards the end of July this time. But how did we miss relocating the people of Churalmala and Mundakai in Mepadi? In 2019, if I remember, because I had visited the area that time, people of these villages had been shifted to relief camps a couple of days in advance, although the disaster later on struck Puthumala alone. As the Chief Minister clarified the other day, was there an absence of, a total absence of early warning? Did all the agencies, including IMD or Geological Survey of India, CWC, all of them failed to see this coming?
It is incorrect to say that people of that area, Mepadi, were not relocated or evacuated. In fact, based on the alerts we received from IMD and Geological Survey of India, people were evacuated. Around 150 people were evacuated, and all of them are safe now.
Oh, this time?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Gram Panchayat president has explained this in today's all-party meeting, how the Panchayat evacuated around 150 people.
Yeah.
What happened was that the alerts issued by IMD and Geological Survey of India never predicted a disaster of this scale. The alert given by IMD was about a rainfall between 115 mm to 204 mm. It was a yellow alert for 24 hours. Then for the next 24 hours, it was orange alert. And the total amount of rainfall predicted by IMD for 48 hours was between 115 mm to 204 mm. But the actual amount of rainfall we received was 200% higher than what was predicted by IMD. It was 572 mm. Secondly, the alert given by Geological Survey of India was green. It was not about a high intensity landslide. So based on these alerts, government had taken precautionary measures. Gram Panchayat had evacuated people from that area. But a tragedy of this scale was never expected. Finally, this tragedy took place in an area which is 6 kilometers away from the origin of this landslide. So this was never expected.
So there was no sufficient early warning. That is the point that you're making.
But
Yeah,
these warnings were not predicting a tragedy or a landslide of this scale.
How is the state now responding to the situation? Because there have been multiple agencies involved in evacuating people, carrying out rescue operations, extricating bodies from the mangled remains of houses, vehicles, uprooted trees, all that. And I think now the priority and the focus is primarily on relief operations. So, what are the other measures being taken as part of the relief operations now?
Immediately after this news of heartbreaking landslides came, the entire state machinery swung into action. Um, District administration, local self-government institutions, police, fire force, the entire machinery immediately swung into action, and uh, Chief Minister himself closely monitored the progress of relief and rescue operations. He sent a team of five members of state cabinet to Wayanad, and they are coordinating the rescue and relief operations. Two IAS officers have been appointed as special officers. So the rescue and relief work is going on. We sought Army's help, and various other central agencies' help was also sought. Army is in action in Wayanad now. They've constructed a Bailey bridge, so this has helped us in accelerating the rescue operations. It will take 2 more days to complete rescue operations in Wayanad. Uh, Even before completing the rescue operations, the government has taken up the issue of rehabilitation and rebuilding the lives of people affected in that area. That is why the Chief Minister today held an all-party meeting, and after that he addressed media and he has explained how the government is going to take up the issues of rehabilitation and rebuilding.
Yeah, back in 2019, along with Putumala, landslide occurred in Kavalapara in Malappuram district as well. So we faced almost a similar kind of situation back then. So now landslides have become a sort of annual threat to the highland people of Kerala. Now, do we have any comprehensive plan to address this issue? Because if I remember correctly, as per this PDNA, the Post Disaster Needs Assessment Report, we were supposed to have put in place a whole lot of mechanisms to build and develop climate resilience. Then community shelters should be there. Then land use regulation, eco-sensitive, risk-informed land use and settlement. That was one of the pillars of disaster response, which was mentioned in the PDNA. So, why is that there is a delay in implementing all of this, considering the fact that these disasters are now a reality in Kerala on an annual basis, on a yearly basis?
In fact, there is no delay in implementing climate resilience measures and projects envisaged in Rebuild Kerala initiative. According to information available to me, um, this uh, as part of Rebuild Kerala initiative, projects in 14 sectors, covering 14 sectors and worth rupees 8,675 crores are being implemented. So far, projects worth rupees 5,308 crore contracts have been awarded, and the total expenditure amounts to more than 4,500 crores. So there is no delay in implementing these projects under Rebuild Kerala initiative. And I would like to tell you that Kerala is the only state which has developed a, or which is developing a local action plan on climate change. More than 260 local self-government institutions have already made significant progress in developing local action plan on climate change. KILA, Kerala Institute for Local Administration, in collaboration with UNDP, developed a methodology for LACP, Local Action Plan on Climate Change. And we have also developed a tool called Disaster and Climate Action Tracker. This is to evaluate project planning and disaster mitigation projects by local self-government institutions. All this is intended to empower local government institutions to meet the challenges caused by uh, climate change and disasters. So the government is taking up these issues, and we are trying to fast track the implementation. And further, risk-informed master plan is also an important development since 2018. Our target was to approve at least four risk-informed master plans in the Greater Pamba Basin, involving four districts: Idukki, Kottayam, Pathanamthitta, and Alappuzha. And by 2026, so far, we have been able to approve one risk-informed master plan for Alappi municipality. This is for urban areas. So, Alappi's risk-informed master plan is approved and sanctioned by the government. For Chengalur, a risk-informed master plan is in the final stage of approval. The municipal council is yet to approve the republished risk-informed master plan. Once the municipal council approve it, then the government will examine it and sanction it. So these are the initiatives: this DCAT, risk-informed master plan, local action plan on climate change. These initiatives have been undertaken by the government after the 2018 floods.
These are primarily urban areas. Does the government think that this could eventually be scaled up and implemented across the state?
All the other initiatives are covering the entire state. Risk-informed master plan is only for urban areas.
But then, considering that specifically about landslide prone areas, considering that there are certain areas which have been identified as landslide prone or hazard prone by multiple agencies like ISRO, for example, Geological Survey of India, KUFOS had done a study, NSES had also done a study. So you know, by and large, which are the areas likely to be struck by landslides. Now, the plans that we have right now are basically oriented towards disaster risk reduction. So, do we have anything in place for averting these disasters, preventing these disasters? Say, for example, monoculture is still a practice in most of these highland areas. So, constructions, unregulated constructions are still there in some of these areas. So, what is the government doing to address all these issues in order to ensure that a disaster is prevented or it is mitigated?
The methodology of local action plan on climate change includes the dissemination of downscale climate data, projection, and maps to the local governments. It's not merely about mitigating disasters. It's about preventing disasters. The government is very serious about uh, about the challenges we are facing in the entire Western Ghats. Yes, you are right when you are talking about the quarrying, mining, and construction activities, relentless tourism activities. All these are issues. Yeah,
anthropogenic factors, human
yeah. All
factors,
these
basically.
needs to be discussed and regulated. I do agree with you, but at the same time, we must recognize the fact that this particular landslide was not caused because of any construction activity or because of any tourism activity. I also happen to see many social media posts about Madhav Gadgil reports. My view is that even if we had implemented Gadgil report in its letter and spirit, this could not have been avoided. This particular landslide, we, it could not have been avoided because this was not an ordinary landslide. This was caused by excessive rainfall. 572 rainfall over a period of 48 hours. It acts as a water bomb. It's almost like a dam blast. So it's not a normal or ordinary landslide. So that we need to understand.
Yeah, a climate scientist we spoke with yesterday said, more or less on the same lines, he said It's primarily induced by climate change, extreme weather event, but which has been accentuated by human factors, activities taking place on these, in these areas over a period of time. So, human factors are still relevant. I mean, we can still mitigate, and since we also have this action plan in place, I think, you should be able to approach it holistically, also considering the human factors, and to the extent possible, if you can reduce the human factors contributing to these disasters.
Yeah, as I explained earlier, the measures like local action plan on climate change, DCATs, risk informed master plan, all are aimed at regulating or addressing human factors.
Yeah, you made a mention about certain pilot plans being implemented, especially the one in Pampa, and through the local bodies, and you also have this urban master plan, disaster management plan. But then, has there been any instance of people resisting implementation of such plans?
Of course, because in a state like Kerala, you cannot do anything without taking people into confidence. So there are many concerns. I would like to tell you the experience in Chengalur. Chengalur was an area which was badly affected by 2018 floods. We all remember that. Despite that, when we initiated the process of framing or preparing a risk-informed master plan for Chengalur, the resistance was stiff. We had to undertake several rounds of meetings and consultations, and we have sent people from experts from disaster management authority and from our LSD department. We held special ward sabhas, gram sabhas, in order to educate people and to address their concerns about risk informed master plan. Finally, we were able to convince them and publish a draft risk informed master plan. Then we invited objections and suggestions. On the basis of these objections and suggestions, we modified it. But that risk informed master plan is yet to be approved by municipal council. Once it is approved by the council, then the government will sanction it. So you cannot do anything, or you cannot bulldoze things in a state like Kerala. You can do it only in consultation with the people and only by taking them into confidence.
But that is something which has been mentioned in the RKI report as well. And the PDNA also makes a mention of people oriented disaster mitigation measures and management measures.
Mainly, it is being done through local bodies. That is why we held uh, special Wat Sabhas,
Gramasabhas.
Gram Sabhas. Initially, the resistance was very stiff. People were very hostile to such initiatives. But now we are confident that we can convince people.
Yeah, there is a belief that people generally resist being evacuated when there is a warning, because they hold dear their land, their means of livelihood, all that. So, don't you think that there should be some incentives for people, if when there is a rehabilitation plan for them, or when there is an evacuation being planned? So, what is stopping the government from incentivizing people who are ready to move out of these places, even for a temporary period?
Yeah, these are the issues which we need to take into account when we plan rehabilitation in future. I think certain incentives are already in place. Anyway, all these suggestions are welcome. We will have to look into all these suggestions and ideas.
Yeah, coming back to Maypadi, there is a special officer who is in charge of rehabilitation and relief work. So what is the way forward in bringing these people back to normal life? Because it's going to take them a long time to reconcile with their loss, and get their lives back on track. So, do we
Uh,
have any concrete plan towards that end?
Today, Honorable Chief Minister has announced that a cabinet subcommittee will monitor and they will lead, take lead in preparing a rehabilitation plan for Mepadi. A cabinet subcommittee of four ministers will be monitoring this plan, and two IAS officers have been appointed as special officers. Immediately after this rescue operations, the state government will chalk out a detailed and comprehensive rehabilitation plan. Of course, it will take time for the victims to come out of this tragedy. The scale of this tragedy is very huge and
Enormous.
massive, and the psychological trauma. I'm sorry, the psychological
Trauma.
trauma they and yeah, they experience is alarming. So all this will take time in order to come out of this thing.
Yeah, given that landslides are there to stay for, I mean, for the years to come, because this is probably the biggest disaster that hit Kerala in recent years, in the last few decades at least. Do you have? I mean, do you think that the government should have a concrete plan or a specific program specifically to address and mitigate landslides going forward?
Of course, because the impact of climate change is going to be very huge on Kerala. It has been found by various studies that Kerala is one of the most vulnerable places in the world to climate change, to the impact of climate change. So we will have to address this in future, and we will have to chalk out plans accordingly. Uh, Anyway, the government has already initiated measures to address these challenges. And in the coming days and the coming years, this is going to be a major challenge before our state.
Thank you so much, Minister, for joining us today and responding to our queries. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.